The 2021 Genesis GV80, the first Genesis SUV. I call it the Genesis Great Value for GV. It's such an amazing vehicle. It's a very, very good SUV, very luxurious, powerful, and as I said, great value. Genesis finally has introduced an SUV. As a brand, they stand for luxury. They're part of the Hyundai group. And a lot of things in this car you're going to find in other vehicles, such as the Palisade and so on. Genesis says that this is pure craftsmanship. It is a luxury vehicle that anyone should buy. But is it any good? So this is what we're going to find out for today's video. I brought in today the 2020 Audi Q7. And we're going to compare it against the Genesis GV80 if it's any good. Now, some of you might have questions about this comparison. Well, isn't the Q5 supposed to be compared to the GV80? Technically not. Yes, you might find some articles online saying that the GV80, it is a competitor to the Q5, but in my opinion it's not. And there are a few reasons. First of all, this offers 3 rows. So does this. This is 199 inches long. This is 194.5 inches long. Meanwhile, the Q5, it's under 190. So technically not a great competitor. At the same time, the Genesis starts in Canada at about $64,000. Meanwhile, this at $71,000. The Q5, you're looking at about $50,000 or so. So not the best comparison. I think the Q5 will be best compared against the GV70, which is the next SUV that Genesis has promised us. Special thanks for this video goes to our good friends at Audi Brampton for allowing me to borrow the Q7 so that I compare it against the Genesis GV80 if it's any better. Another reason why I picked the Q7 is because it looks very, very similar to this. Now, if you look at them side by side, the wave starting from the front of the vehicle all the way to the back resembles a little bit to the Q7. Now we know Genesis and of course the Kia and Hyundai brands like to use German engineering. In fact, they hired a lot of German engineers and designers, such as the BMW, the head of the M Performance. Genesis as well hires Lamborghini designers and so on. So they're doing something great. They know exactly what they're doing. They're aiming at the Germans. To beat the competitors, you need to be able to provide luxury vehicles. And in this case, this is what Genesis is providing. The Genesis has a great start, and I gotta give it to Genesis. They've done a fantastic job. The model that we have for today's video is the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that makes 300 horsepower. Yes, you heard that right, out of a 4-cylinder engine. It is so impressive what they have done with this engine. And I must say, after having this for about a week, and I have test driven the Audi Q7 before, this is actually an amazing 4-cylinder. They have a great engine to compete against the Audi, which offers a V6 single turbocharged engine that makes about 335 brake horsepower. Both vehicles have an automatic 8-speed transmission and both have all-wheel drive systems. Where the Genesis loses first is actually the cargo space. The Audi offers behind the second row or the third row more space than the Genesis. So you're looking at about, in total, on the Audi Q5 at 70 cubic feet of space. Meanwhile, in the Genesis, about 65 and 68. Another place that the Audi wins is the towing capacity. You see, this can tow up to 7,700 pounds. Meanwhile, the Genesis, even with a V6 engine, can tow up to 6,600 pounds. Big win for the Q7. The Q7 offers air ride, but they also offer an amazing feature in the back. So you see, if it's too high off the ground, what you can do is raise and lower vehicle with the butts located onto the side, as you can see. And the vehicle is not even on. And then you can raise it if you want. The Genesis offers the power second row seats in the third row. Now, unfortunately with this package, we don't have the third row, but you do get power third row, which is quite amazing. So you can basically fold the seat in the front for the second row and the third row right from here. And you have a power second row seat. So the only thing you have to do is just press the button on the side on the second row and it will fold automatically. One thing I love to test on my channel when it comes to 3-row SUVs is the actual tailgate. How high can it go? Let's test the Audi Q7. So I kind of have to like duck down. My hair is touching the actual tailgate. Let's see how the Genesis will do. Okay, straight through. Now that's a plus for the Genesis. We do know that the Q7 will cost you more, and I think it is justifiable. So the first thing you'll notice with this, it does have soft closing doors. So you don't actually have to slam the door, both front and back. In the Genesis, you don't get, even with the advanced trim that we have for today's video. Don't think that the Genesis is not as luxurious as the Audi. In fact, it does have quite a lot of features that both cars offer. So for example, we have a dual climate unit in the center and heated seats for this side, for the passenger on both sides. Now that's pretty impressive. Also, this seat over here and this side is actually power. So if you want to fold it, you don't have to use too much force. So you have a button located onto this side, you press it and then bang on. Now you have more space, maybe to put some stuff in there. The beautiful thing about this is how advanced they have made this vehicle, even in the second row. What I mean by that, if the seat in front of you is bothering you, what you can do is press this button located onto the side, and then now you can basically fold the recliner and the actual seat so you can move it forwards. Now that is next level luxury. I absolutely love that. On top of that, you have the visors on this side and on this side. They've thought about adults here, not just for kids. The Genesis doesn't have a full panoramic roof, so it's actually split in half. So you got one in the back and one in the front, and they both open the actual sunshades. And you got sunshades on the sides if the sun is too bright for you. In the Audi Q5, in the second row, you're getting pretty much the same thing as in the Genesis. You have dual climate units, heated seats, and of course, you get the USB ports to charge your phone, a single armrest in the front, but this offers a full panoramic roof. Now, what I do like about the Audi that I don't like in the Genesis is actually space. I feel like I have more space in here than I did in the Genesis. Technically, the Audi is slightly longer, a couple of inches longer than the Genesis, so that translates into more space. Now, the Q5 offers quite a lot of technology compared to the Genesis, but they're not far off each other. So, for example, both have Infotainment System, digital cluster. The only difference is that the Audi offers a full Google Maps cluster, so you can actually display the map onto your cluster. Quite impressive. This, for 2020, they redesigned the Q7, so they gave you more features, and then we have beautiful massive screen in here. This is a haptic option, so basically when you're touching it, you can actually hear it click. And you can also move the icons like a phone, so you can basically adjust them from different areas and then you're done. There's a lot of features in this. Most importantly, in this model, you get the actual massage seats for the front. Yes, for both sides. When it comes to other convenience features, they both have heated seats, ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, standard features, heads-up display, and of course, the Genesis also has a digital cluster. The beautiful thing with the Q7, unlike the Genesis GV80, is that it is sporty and luxury at the same time. You either like it or you don't. I kind of like this kind of style. It is very flawless. There is barely any gaps in here. Everything is where it should be. I like the overall shape around this area. They've done a fantastic job. I don't like some things about this car. So for example, the actual touchscreen over here, like there's no need to have that, especially because now you have to clean two screens. Not the biggest fan of that design. So if you're moving around here, now it has this screen protector so you can just clean it so it doesn't leave any fingerprints. But generally, in my opinion, with touchscreen options, quite annoying because you have to keep cleaning them all the time. And then you have basic standard features in here for different driving modes. It has a 360 camera, you can turn it on, and then you have a 3D version of it as well, which is very much similar to the one in the Genesis GV80. So when it comes to those features, they're very similar, not too far off. The Audi also offers wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So once you connect your phone, then you basically are connected to the car. You're done. You can just slide your phone in here and then charge it. Very smart. One thing I love about the Q7 is the steering wheel. Now compare that to the Genesis. In my opinion, the steering wheel of the Genesis doesn't look as appealing to me. I find it just way too futuristic, very different design. I have never seen that kind of steering wheel before. Some will like it, some will not. I just like standard steering wheels. There's no need to put a lot of fancy stuff in it. One thing I love about the Audi as well is the interior quality. And let me show you what I mean, but let's jump into the Genesis. The first thing you notice when you get into the Genesis, you feel how luxurious it looks. It looks pretty good. You have haptic touchscreen option for the actual climate unit, a huge infotainment system. It's 14.5 inch. That thing is massive. What I don't like about the Genesis as well, it's this. It takes so much time to get used to this kind of system. So for reverse drive, it's just, look, it's in neutral, and then you have to click it twice to go into reverse. I just find it a bit annoying. That's my only concern with this vehicle. They could have done better in terms of this area. There's no need to have a massive scroll button here, scroll here. Kind of looks like a space shuttle to me. There's like way too many scroll option. I would like a shift knob. I find it easy to put into drive, easy to put it in reverse. I found this to be annoying. I found this to be slightly annoying. But what I love about the Genesis is the overall design. It looks very futuristic, very different. I mean, for the price that you're paying for this vehicle, you're getting so much. Like the front area, you have heated seats, ventilated seats, a full cruise control option with this. Very advanced. We'll take that for a test drive as well. And then we have a heads-up display, a huge infotainment system. That is quite impressive for the price that you're paying. Don't forget, for the Q7, you'll be putting some money towards it. Now that we've covered a lot of things about both vehicles, the next question is, how do they drive? Which one drives better? Which one is more comfortable? And of course, the cabin noise. I want to point out something though before we go for a test drive. The Genesis actually has winter tires. Meanwhile, this has all season. Something that I can't control, unfortunately. But we're going to test drive them either way. Let's go for a drive. Okay, so we're going to take the Audi Q7 for a test drive. Let me turn it on for you. Let me adjust the seat. We have power steering column in here. And here we go. Let's set up everything. There we go. And we have the nice infotainment system. Beautiful. You can have the map displayed in here and in there. Now, that is quite impressive. This is Google Maps. So it's literally whatever you have on your phone. So most of the time, you actually don't need to connect your phone because it's literally like that. Now, let's do the voice control. It's too cold inside.
What temperature should be set?
25.
I am increasing the temperature to 25 degrees Celsius.
So now it's going to get warm. That's pretty impressive. Next thing, hold in this button here. It's a haptic type of button, and there we go. So now you have full control of the driver's seat. And then you can turn it on from here. You also have massage seat. So let's do pulse. Oh, that feels good. If you don't want to use the buttons on the seat, what you can do, hold that, and there you go. Now you have access to this. You can adjust the actual seat and then increase, decrease, and so on, or the recliner, the bolsters. Like, that's just, everything's right in here. Like, they've thought about everything. Now, let's go for a drive into drive modes. If you want to change the driving modes, they're located right in here. So we have dynamic, auto, comfort, and all roads. Here we go. Now, let's just put it into auto for now. It also adjusts the heights of the vehicle, so you can raise it from here or lower it. Depends what you want it. But based on the driving modes, it will also change the position of, let me put into park. it will change the height of the vehicle. So right now it's actually raising the vehicle. Let me do it again. I actually like it when it's lowered. Here we go, and then lower. Now it's going to lower the vehicle. Nice. Okay, so let's go for a drive. I love this thing. I actually like the Q7. I like the Q7 more than the Q8. I think this looks much better than the Q8 in my opinion. The Q8 is like kind of like a big Volkswagen Beetle in my opinion. This looks like a proper SUV, and you got a third row as well in both vehicles. That is something to keep in mind. Oh, the massage seats in here are so freaking good. It's soft, but you can enjoy it, and that's what I like about this. What I do notice with this is the fact that it is so quiet inside. Now, Genesis says that the Genesis is actually double glass windows, so which means it's quieter. Is it? That's what we're gonna find out, and I bring this little gadget in here and find out if this is actually as quiet as the Genesis, or which one is the best out of the two. We're gonna take it on a proper road, exact same road for both of them. This also has paddle shifters if you want to have some fun. Let's put the transmission to sport mode. We have it in all road, and then change it into dynamic. Oh, this thing goes. It goes. Now, some of you might say, well, Sam, this is not fair. You should have gotten the Genesis, the V6. Yes, but that's not fair too, because the V6 makes like 400 horsepower. So 400 versus 335. I took the base models for both of them. Now, the 4-cylinder in Canada barely gets ordered because the vehicle is so heavy that the 4-cylinder is totally useless. I actually talked to the guys there at Audi Brampton. He's like, nobody actually orders the 4-cylinder because the vehicle is so heavy, it's so useless, and there's literally no power. That's why I thought to get this. Also, because I think the 4-cylinder in the Genesis, even though it is a 4-cylinder, if I didn't tell you that, if you drove the car, you'd never be able to tell that is a 4-cylinder because it's so powerful. And good job to Genesis. They've done a fantastic job on that car. But again, I think this too, the perfect trims that we have for today's video and the engines are perfect for both. And they are awesome. They're just perfect and more than enough power. One makes 300 horsepower, the other one makes 335. That's all you need. At least that is sort of like a fair comparison, and instead of getting the Genesis V6 that made 400 horsepower. Now let's try the cabin noise. We're going to turn it on and shut our mouths, and then we're going to put this into comfort mode. Okay, so we got the number. It's 58.9 at 70 kilometers an hour. We're going to do the same test for the Genesis, an exact same road to be fair. Few things to keep in mind. The Q7 offers better braking system. It has 4 pistons in the front, big brake hit in the front. It also has all-wheel steering. What does that mean? Well, the front wheels turn, as usual cars do, mostly. The rear wheels in this car turn as well. It is not fully, of course, you couldn't do that, but it turned slightly, so that way it gives you a better steering. Amazing technology, you got to give it to Audi. And on top of that, it also has air suspension system. This vehicle is fantastic. It offers so much. But it is important to notice the fact that it is more expensive than the Genesis. What I love about the Audi is the overall craftsmanship inside. They have left nothing in here that I could complain about it. From the dashboard, beautiful quality, the touchscreen area here, the infotainment system, although as I said, I'm not the biggest fan of this area because I hate fingerprints on touchscreen. It's one of my things. But it's still not as bad, not as noticeable. But this area, you're going to be using it a lot compared to that, because in here you have all your climate unit right in there. So that's one thing that annoys me. But you also have the same thing in the Genesis, where it's actually a full touchscreen haptic. It's the same style is that? Oh my God, the steering radius on this thing, it's amazing. Full turn in a tiny road. I love this because of that all-wheel steering. So let's start with the Genesis. First of all, we have power steering as well here, power steering column, so you can adjust it automatically. It's pretty nice, right? There's a lot of tech features in here that I absolutely like. Like the steering position as well, it's quite nice. One thing I noticed with this is it's very much like a Range Rover where the dashboard sits higher than the sitting position. So you're kind of looking that way instead of straight. That's one thing I find with this. On top of that, to me, both look like a shooting brake version of like the C-Class that they use in Europe. Unfortunately, in North America, we don't get those things. But that kind of style, except these are both SUVs. The complaints I had previously are very minimal. Yes, it's kind of like being picky, but it's important to show craftsmanship when you're paying a lot of money. So for example, let's see that side. Like that area over there, there's so much gap in between. There's gap in here between those two. And then on this side, like the actual part, there's like gap in here. Like little things like that they have completely sort of forgotten to take care. I noticed on this side, not well leveled all the way through. There is like little things here and there that I find it to be just a bit annoying. You're paying a hefty price for this, so you want to get the highest quality possible. Those are little things here and there. You'll notice them if you ever get the chance to actually test drive that. On top of that, like plasticky things around here, this, well, like little things like that bother me. I'm not the biggest fan of those. And on top of that, like the actual vent over here, it's so funny because both have the same design. It's sort of like stretched all the way through, like big vents, wide open. Little things that annoy me, but overall this car, this SUV, it's quite impressive. Now let me show you the 360 camera. Quite impressive, right? That is really crystal clear, and you have a 360 mode and a 3D version, so you can just look straight around. Like that is exactly what the Audi Q7 offers. This thing it's quite sharp, and then you can change the view, multiple areas, and so on. Or you can have that full view, and then you have the 360 on that side. Very good. Now, let's go for a drive into reverse. The mirrors tilt when you reverse both sides. So now you have the mirrors tilted, ready to give you full view on the rear side, and then we have the 360 camera. The 4-cylinder in this car is very impressive, I might say. Like they have done a fantastic job. Again, if you didn't know that this was a 4-cylinder, you wouldn't be able to tell that it is a 4-cylinder. You'd be saying, well, it's a V6 for sure. But they've done a great job. You got to give it to Genesis. This engine, high torque, very high torque, and that's what makes a car quick. High torque. This is a perfect example, in my opinion. It's such a powerful yet small engine. That's what I love about it. Now, here's the other thing I love about this car that you have seen it probably in the Palisade. In the cluster, when I turn the signal right, now you have the blind spot through the camera. So now you can see through that. So you technically don't even need to actually look at the side and turn your head, because this thing gives you full view. That is quite impressive. It's the same technology used in some Kia vehicles and of course Hyundai, because technically they're part of the same family. It's quite impressive, I might say. Like that is a great feature to have. Another thing I like about this, the heads-up display. Unfortunately, through the camera you can't see it as clearly because the actual sun, but they have a full vehicle shown in the actual heads-up display, and then the actual vehicle has indications on the left and right side every time a vehicle approaches you on the rear side. So that, like, you have so much. You have blind spot assist, then you have that shows you. There is no way you could crash this car, in my opinion, unless you're really, really bad driver, because other than that, you're fully protected in here. Similar to the Audi Q7, this has a full adaptive cruise control. You can set it, turn it on, and then set the speed. And here we go into that. You have gap assist as well, 70 kilometers an hour. The steering wheel is turned on and it actively steers for you. It's exactly the same thing you're gonna find in the Audi Q7. Now let's try the voice control. We have voice control right here.
Please say a command.
It's too hot inside.
Sorry, I didn't understand you. Please try your command again after the beep.
Turn off heater.
I still didn't understand you.
So it's not as at the same level as the Audi. It won't give you all those commands. So you can do like, you know, change Bluetooth settings, cancel route, find a gas station or something like that. But other than that, it's just not at the same level as the Audi. Now, let's do the cabin noise test. 58.5. That is 0.4 less than the Q7. So the Genesis actually has a better sound isolation, but that is not a huge difference. That's slightly because maybe the wind. Also, surprisingly, with winter tires, that is still pretty good. So technically the Genesis is actually quieter inside than the Q7. Now that is quite impressive, right? That is quite impressive. Good job on the Genesis. Now let's talk about other things about this vehicle. Power delivery. Let's put into sport mode. Into corners. It's switched pretty quick. The engine kind of like revs pretty high, and then it just, like, there is power coming out of that engine, but it's just revving. That's all he's doing. I don't even have it in manual mode, and it's just literally revving. Not sure why. Just high revs, no power delivery. In the Audi Q7, I felt the engine was delivering the power without high revs, and here just a lot of noise, but no movement. Now let's do a U-turn. We were able to do a U-turn on the Audi. No. Nope. We need to change. Here we go. No, not a full U-turn. You couldn't do it. In the Audi, we did a full U-turn. Full U-turn at the same spot. Here, not so much. It's still okay, but that all-wheel steering in the Audi Q7 makes a huge difference in my opinion. And especially because it is a big vehicle, it's very important to have that kind of system. Has Genesis finally brought a perfect competitor to a German machine, to the German competitors like the Audi, the BMW? They're getting there, but not yet. They're trying and they want to get there, but not yet. I think the GV80, it's an amazing vehicle for the price. But if you take into consideration the fact that this will lose money, lose value in the long run, I think the Q7 could be the best option. You just got to ask yourself, do you want to drop $80,000 on a Genesis? Some will debate that. Some will say, no, not really. I think it's not there yet for me. I love it. I just don't know if I could drop that money in this Genesis. With that in mind, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Which one do you like the most out of this too? Stay safe. Cheers.